Hi, welcome my channel. Today's story is about family betrayal and a powerful comeback. She lost everything, but fought back and won it all. You won't believe the ending. On my 30th birthday, my family tried to take everything I had worked for, but what they didn't know was that I had already prepared to take everything back. My name is Ava Morgan, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the one holding our family's business together while my younger sister, Chloe, lived like a celebrity, flaunting designer clothes, exotic vacations, and endless parties. Meanwhile, I spent countless sleepless nights at the office, making sure Vanguard Properties, the real estate empire our father built, kept growing. So when they used my birthday party to announce that my own apartment, the home I bought with my hard-earned money, would be gifted to Chloe, something inside me broke. But what they didn't realize was that I held the real power in the company, and I was ready to use it. This is the story of how I took it all back. Vanguard Properties wasn't just a business, it was my family's empire. My father, Edward Morgan, had built it from the ground up, turning a single struggling apartment complex into a booming luxury real estate firm known for high-end condos and resorts. Growing up, I watched him pour everything into the company, and by the time I was 18, I was already working beside him, learning the ins and outs of contracts, project development, and client management. From day one, I took my role seriously. I was the responsible daughter, the one who stayed late to handle problems, the one who canceled vacations to save deals, the one who sacrificed everything to keep the company thriving. Meanwhile, my younger sister, Chloe, lived a very different life. At 27, she still acted like a teenage influencer, showing off designer handbags, yachts, and penthouse parties to her massive social media following. My mother, Victoria, always brushed it off, saying, "She's young, Ava, let her enjoy life, she'll grow up." But Chloe never did. Instead, she was handed the title of brand ambassador for Vanguard Properties, which in reality just gave her free rein to spend company money as she pleased. I can't count the number of times I overheard my father say, "Ava, business requires sacrifices," as he pushed more responsibilities on me, responsibilities Chloe never had to worry about. But no matter how much I worked, it was always Chloe who got the attention, the praise, and the perks. Still, I stayed loyal to the company, believing that if I worked hard enough, I would finally earn my father's full respect. I didn't realize until later that no amount of dedication would ever be enough for them, and that realization changed everything. Everything started to unravel the day Noah Reed, our new chief financial officer, walked into my office and quietly closed the door behind him. From the serious look on his face, I knew something was wrong, but nothing could have prepared me for what he was about to reveal. "Ava," he said, laying a thick stack of reports on my desk, "I've been reviewing the company's financials for the past 5 years, and there's something you need to see." As I flipped through the documents, my hands started to tremble. Page after page listed extravagant expenses, luxury vacations, private jets, designer shopping sprees, and exclusive parties. "Chloe has spent over $3 million of company funds," Noah said quietly, watching me for a reaction. "She's been disguising it all as marketing and brand promotion, claiming it's part of her role as the company's image." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. All those times I had cut costs to make payroll. All the nights I had stayed late worrying about the company's bottom line. Meanwhile, my sister had been treating Vanguard like her personal bank account. Furious and heartbroken, I confronted my father that evening, thinking he must not know what Chloe had been doing. But when I laid the evidence in front of him, he simply sighed, took off his glasses, and said, "I approved those expenses. Ava, Chloe has her way of contributing to the business, and you have yours." His words hit me like a slap in the face. After years of sacrificing everything for this company, I realized I would never earn his approval or be treated equally. For so long, I had believed that hard work would win me respect, but in that moment, I knew I had been wrong. That night, sitting alone in my apartment, I decided I wasn't going to be the silent, loyal daughter anymore. With Noah's help, I was going to protect what I had built, even if it meant going against my own family. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, Noah uncovered something that changed everything, something even my father hadn't expected me to realize. During his review of the company's legal and financial documents, Noah discovered that I was actually the majority shareholder of Vanguard Properties, owning 60% of the company. Years ago, my father had quietly structured the shares that way for tax benefits, never imagining that I would one day figure out how to leverage that power. I stared at Noah in disbelief as he showed me the paperwork, my mind racing. All this time, I had been working like an employee, taking orders and trying to prove myself, while unknowingly holding the true power to control the company. But the revelation came with a warning. Noah had also found draft documents to transfer my apartment to Chloe, claiming it was technically purchased as a company perk, since my salary had been drawn from Vanguard. The home I had worked so hard for, the only thing I considered truly mine, was about to be handed over to my sister. I was stunned, but that shock quickly hardened into determination. For years, I had kept quiet, thinking loyalty and hard work would eventually win me my place in the family. Now, I realized I had to take that place for myself. Noah and I spent that night building a plan, a way to take back my power and stop them from stripping away everything I had fought to build. The day of my 30th birthday arrived, and although I already knew what was coming, nothing could have fully prepared me for the public betrayal my family had planned. The party was held at my parents' extravagant penthouse, filled with extended family, close friends, business partners, and board members, people I had worked hard to impress over the years. Everything was elegant, as expected from a Morgan event, sparkling chandeliers, servers carrying trays of champagne, and a band playing softly in the background. But beneath all that glamour, I could feel the tension in the air. As I stood quietly near the window, Chloe suddenly tapped her glass, drawing everyone's attention. She was radiant in a designer dress, flashing a bright smile as she raised her glass. "I have a very special announcement to make," she said sweetly, looking directly at me with a glint of satisfaction. "As a birthday gift to me, our amazing father has given me Ava's apartment." For a moment, the room was silent. Then, as if on cue, applause erupted. My mother beamed proudly, while my father simply looked away, avoiding my gaze. I could feel my chest tighten, but I forced myself to stay calm. Slowly, I stepped forward, my heart pounding, but my mind razor sharp. "You're right, Chloe," I said evenly. "I am always at the office, working to keep this family business alive." I reached into my handbag and pulled out a folder, my hands steady. "And since we're making announcements, I have one of my own." The room fell silent again, all eyes now fixed on me. Chloe's smile faltered slightly, but she had no idea what was coming. I cleared my throat, projecting my voice so everyone could hear. "As CEO and majority shareholder of Vanguard Properties, I'm announcing several immediate changes." I could see the shock ripple through the room. First, all personal expenses will require full board approval, no more unchecked spending. Second, a complete audit of the past 5 years will begin immediately, including all marketing expenses. Chloe's face drained of color, and my father finally turned to stare at me, his expression unreadable. This was my moment, and I wasn't going to back down. The moment the words left my mouth, chaos erupted in the room. My father, Edward, immediately stood up, his voice sharp and full of warning. "Ava, this is a family matter, not something to be aired in front of our partners and board members," he said, trying to regain control. But before I could respond, Noah stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Actually, Mr. Morgan, given the serious nature of what's been uncovered, this is now a corporate matter. The board has both the right and responsibility to be here." I could see the color drain from my father's face as the board members, holding the folders Noah had passed around, started flipping through the evidence of Chloe's excessive spending. My mother, Victoria, was next to explode, her cheeks flushed with anger. "Ava, how could you do this to your own sister? To our family?" she shouted, glaring at me as if I were the villain. But I stood my ground. "No, Mom," I said evenly. "How could you stand by while Chloe and Dad spent company money like their personal piggy bank? How could you try to give away the home I worked my entire life to buy, and do it as a gift for Chloe on my birthday?" Chloe, now visibly panicking, sputtered, "Dad approved those expenses. I'm the face of this brand. I bring value." I shook my head, fighting back the years of frustration boiling inside me. "You bring debt, Chloe, not value." My voice rose as I turned to the board, making sure everyone could hear me clearly. "For years, I've sacrificed everything for this company while they treated it like a joke. That ends today." My father slammed his hand on the table, his face red with anger. "If you continue this, Ava, you'll tear this family apart." I took a deep breath, standing tall. "No, Dad, you tore this family apart when you decided that my hard work was worth less than Chloe's designer handbags." Chloe's eyes welled up with tears, but I was unmoved. I looked straight at the board and continued, "As CEO and majority shareholder, I'm freezing all personal spending, launching an external audit, and restructuring leadership to ensure this company's survival." After a heavy silence, I asked, "Who seconds the motion?" Slowly, one by one, board members raised their hands. And as the last hand went up, I knew the balance of power had shifted, permanently. In the weeks that followed, the audit confirmed what I had suspected, and worse. The investigation uncovered millions of dollars funneled into personal accounts, lavish vacations disguised as business research, luxury shopping trips labeled as brand development, and extravagant parties written off as client entertainment. But perhaps the most painful revelation was that my parents had been in on it all along, quietly siphoning company money for years while I worked tirelessly to grow Vanguard Properties. With undeniable evidence in hand, the board moved quickly. Both my father and mother were removed from executive decision-making, reduced to figurehead roles with no real power. Chloe, too, was stripped of her title as brand ambassador, her unlimited access to company funds officially cut off. Instead, she was offered an entry-level position in the marketing department, under strict supervision, if she wanted to stay involved. Although Chloe initially balked at the idea, it was her only chance to remain connected to the company she had taken for granted. As for me, I took full control as CEO, bringing in a professional leadership team to replace family members who had abused their positions. Together, we implemented strict financial controls and transparency measures, including board oversight on all future expenditures. No longer would Vanguard be treated as a family piggy bank. Every cent spent would be accounted for, and every decision made in the company's best interest. Despite the tension, the reforms quickly began to show results, stabilizing finances, restoring investor confidence, and renewing employee morale. Staff who had silently endured years of chaos now felt empowered to contribute under strong leadership. Clients and partners, many of whom had been growing wary of the Morgans' internal dysfunction, expressed relief and support for the changes. For the first time in years, Vanguard Properties was no longer ruled by entitlement and favoritism, but by professionalism and integrity. Although the battle had been painful and had forever changed my relationship with my family, I knew I had done what was necessary to save the company I had worked so hard to build. And that victory was one no one could take away from me. To everyone's surprise, including mine, Chloe eventually accepted the entry-level marketing position. At first, she was furious, treating the role like an insult. She made it clear to everyone that she felt humiliated, and for weeks she sulked her way through meetings and tasks, clearly unaccustomed to taking orders or doing real work. But slowly, something started to change. With no special privileges and no endless company credit card, Chloe was forced to face the reality of working life. She started learning the basics of marketing strategy. From social media campaigns to customer engagement, real work beyond flashy photos and designer outfits. I watched quietly as Chloe, for the first time, began showing up on time, taking notes, and even contributing ideas. The team was skeptical of her at first, but over time, she earned a degree of respect by putting in genuine effort. One evening, as I was leaving the office late, I passed by Chloe's desk and saw her still working, focused on her screen. It was a moment that made me pause. She wasn't perfect, far from it, but she was finally learning what it meant to be part of something bigger than herself. I realized then that maybe, just maybe, Chloe could grow into a better version of herself. It wasn't the outcome I had expected, But seeing her start to change made me believe that some good had come from everything we went through. Now, as I stand in the office I fought so hard to lead, I finally feel a sense of peace and pride. Taking control of Vanguard Properties wasn't just about saving a company, it was about reclaiming my worth, my voice, and everything I had built with years of sacrifice. I still live in the apartment they tried to give away. But now, it's more than just a home, it's a symbol of my independence, my strength, and the battles I had to fight to protect what was mine. The company is thriving under professional leadership. And for the first time, decisions are made with integrity and care, not selfishness or greed. Chloe is still learning, and while things between us are far from perfect, I respect the effort she's making to change. My relationship with my parents will never be what it once was. But over time, they've come to accept my leadership, seeing that my direction has saved the company from ruin. And through all of this, Noah has been my unwavering support, both as CFO and now as my husband, the one person who believed in me when no one else did. Looking back, I realize that standing up to my family was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was also the most important. I've built a future I'm proud of, one I earned, and I finally know my worth. No one will ever take that from me again. If there's one thing I've learned from this journey, it's that loving your family doesn't mean letting them take advantage of you. Sometimes, the hardest thing you'll ever do is stand up to the people closest to you, but protecting yourself and what you've built is worth it. Setting boundaries isn't about being cruel, it's about respecting yourself enough to say, enough, when lines are crossed. I spent years thinking that if I just worked hard enough, I would be valued, but respect isn't something you earn from people who don't want to give it. You have to claim it for yourself. And when you do, you'll find that the life you build on your own terms is so much stronger and more fulfilling. So, to anyone out there struggling to be heard, don't be afraid to fight for what you deserve. You're stronger than you think. The story teaches us that standing up for yourself, even against family, is sometimes necessary to protect what you've worked hard for. Ava's journey shows that loyalty and love should never mean accepting disrespect or being taken for granted. Setting boundaries and demanding fairness are acts of strength, not selfishness. True leadership comes from integrity and perseverance, not entitlement. By fighting for her place and refusing to let her sacrifices be erased, Ava proves that self-worth and respect must be claimed, and that doing what's right, though difficult, can lead to growth, healing, and lasting success.